Hello and welcome back to another episode of Acting with Asha. So today I'm going to talk about Clubhouse. What is Clubhouse? I'm sure you've seen it pop up here and there. People saying, I'm on Clubhouse, join my room. And you're like, what? What is this? Well, I'm going to explain to you exactly what it is and how it can benefit you as an actor. And I have to say, some people don't like this and like, oh, it's just people talking rubbish, which is fair and valid. In some rooms, that is what's happening. But actually, if you find the other kind of people that you're looking for, it just can be insane. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. First of all, I'm going to explain exactly what it is. So it's a new app. It started early 2020. And it's invite only. At the moment, it's only available on Apple iOS. So I know a lot of Android people are like snubbing it, but because they can't get on it. But apparently that's going to open up soon enough. So if you do have an Android, then the time is coming for you. So it is very confusing, like all social media apps. I think I was, hiding from Instagram for about 3 or 4 months before I joined. And again, when I got the invitation, I was like, what's this? Why is everyone going on about it? And then I downloaded it and I opened it. And this was January 2021. And no one I knew was on it. There were no celebs on it. Or I didn't know who to follow. And every time I clicked on a room, which, you will see all these options up for rooms you can join. It was, I love Americans, but it was just a load of Americans talking about stuff that didn't interest me. And I was a bit like, I don't think this is going to be helpful for me in any other way. And then as the weeks went on, I was like, you know what? I'm hearing so much good stuff about this. I have to get involved, because you have to think, when a new app comes out, if you are first on it, it's essentially like starting Instagram when everyone has 0 followers. Imagine if you knew how to work Instagram and how to make it successful, and you could have been one of the people with, 1 million followers. Not saying that we necessarily want that and we're after that, but, people have built careers out of this, and it has help people business-wise. And, we're not all after the followers, but we can't deny that it does help. It's amazing for marketing. It's amazing for your business, whatever you do, whether you're a performer, a model, if you have a company that you're trying to flog, things you're trying to sell, we can't deny that these numbers do work for you. So that's why I really didn't want to miss out. And I felt like I should do what I needed to do to make it happen. So I think about Wednesday. Now I know there's this really big entrepreneur called Rob Moore, and I follow his stuff. He is big in the business game. I think a lot of stuff that I've learned from him, like I learned to write my book through doing one of his courses. I've listened to his books, audio books as well. They're really good. So that's Rob Moore, if you want to check that out. But I followed him. And I also followed Grant Cardone, and they're really big in the entrepreneurial sphere. And I started to listening to what they were doing and how they were doing it. And then I saw there was all these networking rooms, and I thought, okay, that's probably where I need to go to start off with. So signing up, what you do is you need to upload your profile image. Then you need to link up your Instagram and your Twitter, and write yourself a really good little biog selling yourself, who you are, what you do. I put in there about my book, about my podcast, some of the acting things that I've done. And I didn't really know. I was like, I still don't understand. I've done a profile. Now what do I do? And so I went to one of these rooms, and it's really helpful. So in your first week, you get like a little party, like, when it's a party on emojis and you get that little party sign. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like silly string stuff. That's not even how I explain it either. But anyway, so in your first week, you get a little party sign, and that is to let everyone know that you are new to this, and they should probably show you the ropes, because it is a very engaging platform where it's all about talking. So the idea is you can set up a room, you can create a topic, and if people are interested, they can join your room. Now they can join as a listener. So kind of like this podcast, you just listen into a live conversation. or you can raise your hand. There's an option to raise your hand. And then someone who is a moderator, the moderator who started the room, and they can also choose several other moderators if they wish. They could invite you onto stage, which means that you now have the option to speak. And so you have your microphone little button and you can mute and unmute yourself. So when you go into a room, if you put your hand up and you want to become a speaker, or someone invites you, because they can also say, would you like to become a speaker? By pressing a button, you get a little notification. If you accept that, when you get on the stage, it is etiquette to turn your microphone off and keep your microphone off while talking. And so there are so many different formats. Oh my God, the rooms are crazy. So I'm currently running one that is an act, like I think I call it UK film and television chat, because it is still a very American dominated platform. As everything, we're usually a little bit slower over in the UK. So it's dominated by a lot of American chats, which is great. And I love connecting with people internationally, but I only have a work permit for the UK. So it's much more useful for me to be connecting with filmmakers in the UK. And, you know, there's thousands, tens of thousands of them. So I wanted to create a place because obviously I'm so new to the app and the app is new and only just popping up over here. So, you know, it's important to me to start building something before not anyone else does it, but because it's something that I wanted and I saw the opportunity to start building something that I knew there were so many other people that would be interested in. And I decided rather than to aim my room at just actors, I made it for film, because that's so broad, because I want to be meeting casting directors, producers, directors, filmmakers, all kind of area in film. And so that felt like the right kind of room to set up. And so what I do in my room was, when I set it up, then hopefully people join me. And I have to say, for the first 2 rooms I ran, it was just me on my own. I just started a room and no one came in there. And I was like, what do I do? Do I just talk to myself? So I press my unmute and I literally talk to myself like I'm doing right now. Because I do this a lot, it wasn't that unusual, but I now realise how stupid it was of me to just talk into my phone when no one else was there. That was really, really strange of me to do. But it actually was quite useful because I got to practice my little spiel. Like, you know, if you join one of these rooms, there might be the opportunity where they'll say, Jade, can you introduce yourself? And honestly, the first time you do it, you get butterflies. I don't know what it is. We're just not used to talking to people on the phone anymore. It's all emails and texts and, you know, likes and emojis. So to actually talk was really, really quite nerve-wracking, especially when you're in a room full of, you know, sometimes 100, 200 people, and they can all hear your voice. And, you know, there's so much pressure on your voice and not tripping over words and all that. So I got really nervous, and I still do, even after I've been running rooms over the last week and stuff. I still get really nervous depending on. Okay, so I hope I've established what it is. So it is essentially a platform that is all about speaking. So whereas Instagram was a platform all about visuals and Twitter is all about, you know, writing something witty, this is a platform that is all about voices. So you're probably thinking, but why is everyone so excited about this? So what? People can talk. So what? What's the point? I can listen to people talk on podcasts. Okay, so the point of this is it is so new and it is so fresh that everyone has hardly any followers. That means someone that might have 10 million followers on Instagram has no followers on this platform. But again, it's not about the numbers. It's the fact that you can get on the phone and talk to one of these people. Okay, so just to register how good this is, let me just tell you a little story. So, like I said, I joined these rooms on Wednesday, and my first one was an entrepreneurial one, and I put my hand up. I was really nervous, and I introduced myself. And when you talk, people follow you if they like what you're saying, because when you're talking, they can click on your profile, read a bit about you. If they're interested, then they follow you. Simple as that. So it's fairly easy to get followers, whereas I know on other platforms, it can be quite difficult. If you are proactive and you're talking and you're involved and you have something good to say, or even if you're offering a service and someone's interested in that. So there might be a fight coordinators on there. They could get in front of like a really, really big producer or director that they would never have normally met in real life. But anyway, so I'm getting carried away. So my story was, so I set up this room with a director friend of mine, and he didn't know what he was doing either. And we were like, should we just get together and start this room, UK film chat? Now, when you create a room, the people following you, it will send notifications to them saying, would you like to join this room? And you also have the option to ping people in. So with two of us working together, inviting people to the room and with our followers, we ended up with maybe 10 people in the room quite early on. And we gave them all a chance to speak, which they hadn't had before really, because some of the rooms can be mainly about the speaker speaking to everyone rather than people, giving people a platform to introduce themselves. So that's what we started doing. And we like, it was amazing. We were having actors come in and opening up and telling us about their journey, all in like 30 seconds, but it was really good. And I felt like, we were making friends with people that, I don't know, I felt like I hadn't connected with people like that, strangers like that, in a really long time. And then all of a sudden, a really, really big casting director came into the room. Now, I'm talking like one of the biggest casting directors in the UK, someone that I have been chasing for the last 10 years. Last year, I got an audition with this person and I was so happy. It was probably my best opportunity of the year. And he came in and I just froze and I was like, oh my God, I hope my director friend will take over this chat because I'm so scared to talk in front of him. And anyway, so we started, we brought him up. We thought, okay, he's quite an influential person and he could bring in a lot more actors. So we keep on building our room. So we made him a speaker. And all of a sudden, the whole conversation became about him and the knowledge he could bring. Because obviously, if you end up with someone with such amazing insight into your industry, or someone that can bring something to the table, everyone's going to want to stay and listen, and it's helpful for you because you get to find out the information. So we really made the conversation, even though it was really open to filmmakers, we made it about him. And so it was nice, and I started chipping in. And then afterwards I sent him a follow-up email, just because, he'd been so good and so friendly. And I thought, should I? Is this pestering? No, I'm just going to follow up and send an email. And I sent an email saying, hi, would you like to talk on the podcast? Blah, blah, blah. A couple of hours later, I get an email back and he pretty much ignores everything I say, but invites me to audition for a very big TV series. Honestly, I nearly passed out. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe within 2 days of using this platform, I'd got an audition with one of the biggest casting people in the UK. It was just insane. And then something weird happened. Like a few hours later, I was in bed and I pressed a button and accidentally me and him ended up in a private room together on the phone. And it was really awkward because obviously it was going so well. And suddenly at 1 a.m, we've accidentally ended up on a phone call to each other. And then he didn't talk. And then he went on mute. Then I went on mute. Then I left the room. So I was like, okay, that's weird. And I think when you join the platform, there's probably going to be a few instances where you end up in situations where you're like, oh, how did I get here? I think, oh no, I can't even say, but people have been telling me about the chat rooms that they've ended up in. And there are some really random ones. I think one of the first ones, and I quite like them actually, there's these karaoke ones they run in America where people take it in turns just singing. And I couldn't believe how many people were so terrible and the moderators were just ripping them out of it. So it can be really funny, and they have stand-up nights. They have all sorts. It's just anything you could think of is on there, and it is just growing like crazily. And anyway, so after my audition, I was obviously very excited and we carried on doing rooms. And since then, honestly, in the last week, I've connected with 3 huge casting directors. I've ended up with 500 followers on the platform, but the followers, they can feed through to your Instagram. So when they click on you, they can then go through to your Instagram, follow you there. And so I've had an extra 100 followers on Instagram. I've set up a new group on Facebook where I now talk to all the actors who are involved. So if you're interested, you can join UK Film Chat in brackets Clubhouse. If you search for that in Facebook, you can join our group and find out all the bits, and it's where all the actors and filmmakers that I meet are sharing our work and staying in touch, and also if anyone's casting. So yeah, that's something we're doing. So that is the lowdown on Clubhouse. I have to say though, actually, I know I'm raving about it, but it's not all great because, you know, like I said, there are some blaggers, because there's no way of filtering this really. You know, people can get on there, and of course, like, it's brilliant because, you know, the really interesting, successful people are on there, and there's great people that you could work with and meet, but there's also people that are quite blaggers and perhaps might abuse the platform. So, you know, make sure whoever you're talking to, make sure you look them up. And this is why I always say to people the importance of having a really good online presence, because this is the first thing people do when they meet you, especially in this kind of context. So, you know, Google them, and, you know, if they have an agent of some kind, that's probably a very good sign. But if it's just full of IMDb credits and IMDb credits from like 10, 15, 20 years ago and then nothing since, then, you know, they're probably maybe time wasters. But, you know, just use your wits about you, and just, if you meet someone, they're like, you know, we want to put you in a film role, blah, 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 but also give us money for this, then just watch out for these things. That's all I'm saying. Because obviously, you know, it was an exception with the casting director I was talking about, because I've known of him for a very, very long time. And all these other people that I'm meeting, a lot of them I have known of them, or I know people that know them. So you could also check in with other people and be like, would you know about this person if they follow them? Yeah, because I ended up I just woke up, I checked my phone, I thought, oh, let's have a look at Clubhouse, and I pressed the button, and all of a sudden, this guy in Canada was like, oh, hi, I'm a filmmaker, do you want to have a quick chat? And I thought, okay, it's a bit strange, but okay, fine. So I just went on and had a quick phone call, like through the app, with this guy, and he started talking about how he was probably one of the best screenwriters in Canada. I was like, okay. I mean, it's confident, but, you know, anyone walking around and saying those kind of things, and, you know, because you want to be confident, you want to sell yourself and say what you do, but, you know, there's a fine line of arrogance, and usually those people are just talking and hustling, and you just have to watch out. So that is my word of warning. But, you know, this is very, very new, and there's going to be a lot of changes, so who knows what's going to happen. But my advice is try and get hold of an invitation. How can you do that? So obviously you can ask around, see who's got an invite, because I know so many friends that I've invited, I've used up all my invitations. You get 3, or they keep on sending you a few invitations here and there, so you can invite other people to the platform. And a lot of my friends who haven't, you know, they've got an invite, but they haven't used the platform. They're not using it. So they have invites. So maybe reach out to anyone who's perhaps not used their invites yet. Or you could even put something out on Twitter or Instagram, just saying, does anyone have any Clubhouse invites? And try and get one that way. That is probably the best way, unless you know someone. But if you get one, make sure you download it. And I've even heard people say it's changed their business so much. I know a guy that's made in 50 days, 50 days, he ended up with 125,000 followers, and he's made over 50 grand for his business, and he's got speaking jobs, and he's got so much work lined up. Honestly, it's like going to a networking event where there's 100 people and say only 2 or 3 of those people are going to be of any use to you. Rather than having to talk to everyone in the room, you just get put straight with those people that you want to talk to. That is the power of it. So anyway, I'm done gassing about Clubhouse. If you have any questions, do get in touch. Thank you for listening to another episode of Acting with Asha. For any questions, please get in touch with us at www.jadeashavoiceovers.com. Jade is also the author of Actorpreneur. To find out more information about Actorpreneur or buy yourself a copy, visit www.actorpreneurbook.com. And don't forget to subscribe or follow us at Jade Asha. Thanks again. Bye.